Testing, testing, one, two, three. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you are not familiar with who I am, my name is Elizabeth and I am the workplace lawyer. I purpose the work that I do to do two things, two verticals in my business. The first one being to support organizations so that organizations can do better with people centric work, and number two, to help individuals who want to grow their career in corporate America to move in a way that actually supports them and to design a career that they would love to thrive in corporate America. Today, I'm talking to you all about failing to meet expectations. So, if you've ever heard that phrase, you have failed to meet expectations, that means you are likely going to be leaving the organization. And it's a very uncomfortable conversation to have. It's an uncomfortable conversation to be a part of, regardless of the role that you're playing, but especially if you are playing the individual receiving the information from your manager, from your leader, or from HR. So, I want to talk to you about what to do if you are told that you have failed to meet expectations. So, before I get into my tips, number one, subscribe to my YouTube channel because it's a fun time over here. And number two, be sure to give me a follow across all social media platforms. I am again Elizabeth Gweti, Goueti. Be sure to spell my name right, the workplace lawyer. Okay, so if you are given an opportunity to talk with someone, a manager, a person in a higher up position, or somebody who's in HR, and they tell you that you have failed to meet expectations, a couple of things could be happening. Number one, you likely, I don't want to say likely, but you may have actually failed to meet the expectations. I have many conversations with individuals who work a corporate 9 to 5. And when I sit down and talk to them about their actual performance, their day to day performance, quarter over quarter performance, what I discover is, yeah, there were gaps here. There were opportunities for you to do better and you did not do better. There are ways that you could have shown up and you didn't show up, either out of ignorance because you didn't know how, or simply because you didn't want to. As a matter of fact, I just saw threads before closing it out that said, giving a thank you, unmuting myself and giving a thank you at the end of a Zoom call is all you're going to get from me. And while I don't advocate for everyone to give 100% of their essence, their being, and everything else to a job, it is important that you show up with integrity and not play the game, which is, I don't want to be here. I'm going to treat you any kind of way. I'm going to do my work any kind of way, and I'm going to, if it's a low bar, it is a low bar and it is what it is. And then the moment that someone says, "Hey, you're failing to meet expectation," there's shock, there's disappointment, and there are all of these sentiments that come along with it's low. It's low, you all. Let's we can do better, right? So, if you're told that you have failed expectations, you have failed to meet expectations, one of two things is happening. Number one, you have actually failed to meet the expectations. You didn't do right. You played in your own face. You played in your manager's face. And they don't want you playing in their face anymore. And as a result, they have to make way for someone who will actually get the work done in the way that it needs to be done. That's the first thing. The second thing is that you are likely being pushed out of the organization for an illegal reason. Now, I don't necessarily know whether or not it is or is not an illegal reason. I don't know. But what I do know is that often individuals will say, well, they told me that I failed to meet expectations and they put me on a PIP. And once they put me on a PIP, I was gone out of there in 2.5 seconds. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to talk to you today, we as in me, she, me, I, her. I want to talk to you today and advise you and inform you. Hello, hello, come on in. Advise you and inform you on some of the things that you should do if you are told that you have failed to meet expectations. Okay, so number one, the very first thing that you should be doing if you're told that you have failed to meet expectations is to take a breath. I need you to breathe. This is very important. The reason why that you need to breathe is because you are likely going to experience a termination. It is a very heavy thing to process. It is a very uncomfortable thing to experience. You have to take a breath. If you are told that you have failed to meet expectations, one of two things is going to happen. They're going to put you on a PIP, which we'll talk about in a couple of seconds, or They're looking for a way to communicate that we're getting ready to negotiate a severance agreement with you. Hopefully, if you plan on leaving the organization or if the organization is going to push you out, that you get into the position and posturing of a negotiator. A lot of people do not posture themselves as a negotiator because they're processing. There's so much going on in their minds. This is the reason why I'm telling you, you have to take a breath. You have to take a breath and you have to begin processing what is happening right now in the moment. You're likely experiencing shock. You're likely experiencing disappointment. You're likely experiencing confusion. And if you are experiencing these things, what you want to do is, instead of allowing your mind to run rampant and you picking up the phone and you calling everybody and saying, "Man, I can't believe these people are trying me and they're playing in my face." Instead of you doing all of that, take a moment to yourself and breathe. All right. If you are a person of faith, I highly recommend that you start praying, okay? Because you're going to need help from the Most High God. Okay. That's the first thing. The second thing that I want you to do in recognizing that you might be going into what's called a performance improvement plan is prepare your documentation. So, a performance improvement plan is a company's way of documenting that they are removing themselves the relationship of you in that company and them together. The relationship, we're going through a breakup, right? This is a company's way of filing for divorce, in other words. So as the company is saying that we are getting ready to divorce, this relationship is no longer, you need to make sure that you have good documentation in place. Number one, you got to have documentation that shows the work that you've previously done. Number two, everything is so always so subjective. Okay, let me know what you mean by that. Someone wrote in the comments, everything is always so subjective. Let me know what you mean by that. We could talk about that a little bit more. Number two, you want to make sure that you have documentation of the work that you've previously done. Number one, that's number one. Number two, what you also want to do is, if this is your very first time being told that you have failed to meet expectations, you want to make sure that it's very clear to the person that you're talking to, and in particular to HR. This is the key. You want to make sure that you inform HR, "I've not heard that I did not meet expectations." What often happens, and this is a very unfortunate thing because not all HR is created equal. What often happens is that there are people who will hear exclusively from one side, right? Someone in HR, they will hear from the leadership, from management, and they will take whatever leadership and management have said and they will just run with it. It will just be exactly what was said, and that's the end of it. But that is not always the case. So if you are in a situation where your manager is telling you that you have failed to meet expectations and you know that that is just not true. It's a lie. That is not true. You have absolutely done a really good job. You have never been told this before. You want to make it clear to your manager, especially if HR is in a room. If HR is in a room, you want to make that very clear. You want to make it clear to your manager in HR's hearing that this is the first time that you have heard this. And if HR is not there, what you want to do is you want to go to HR and inform HR. I was recently told that I failed to meet expectations and I was put on a performance improvement plan, and this is the very first time I've heard of this. I'm really surprised and taken aback. The reason why you want to let HR know about this is, again, HR's job is to be there as a very objective uh, department, objective purveyor of information. They are supposed to be objective, period. It's hard for an individual, regardless of the company they work for, regardless of the position that they hold, but in particular for HR, it is really hard to be objective when you only get information from one side. And I know what you're thinking. You're watching this and you're thinking to yourself, well, if that's the case, what HR should be doing is inspecting and going back to the employee and asking confirming questions, clarifying questions, and getting the information. And while I agree with you, the industry standard across industries, the behavioral standard across industries is not so. So, because that is the case, what you need to do is ensure that you do right by yourself by speaking up, by communicating, and by waving the red flag if there is one. Never be shy to speak up for yourself, especially when you are experiencing some confusion or there's something else going on with respect to you being told that you have failed to meet expectations. So there's a comment here on the live. If you are following again for the very first time and watching this the replay, be sure to check out the comments on the live replay. So it says here, I've always wondered. I always wondered if you could give me a very structured way to document my work and any communications with people, because I was told there's a very specific way that you communicate via email. Yes, absolutely. We can talk about that when it comes to documentation. Great question. So what you want to do is you want to begin to communicate with HR and with your manager and anyone else that is relevant to you being put on a performance improvement plan. That this is the first, if it is true, don't lie. If it is true, you want to make sure that you inform them that this is the very first time that you have heard of this. Okay, that you're just shocked and surprised to hear about this. Again, that's critical. What you also want to do is you want to make sure that your documentation is sound on the work that you are doing while you are on this performance improvement plan. Now, let me just be very honest and very candid. A performance improvement plan generally is an organization's way of getting you out of the company. They want you gone at that point. It is very difficult to get off of a performance improvement plan. Once a performance plan is written, once a PIP is written, the goal again is to get you off. It's almost impossible to graduate off the PIP. And once you do graduate off the PIP, it's impossible for you to stay off of the PIP or stay out of the offices of HR as they are expecting to terminate you. Why, you ask? Great question. The reason being is because once you are on a PIP, the goal is to ensure that you maintain the same quality of work that you have done when you were on the PIP. So if you were told originally that you failed to meet expectations and we are now moving to a performance improvement plan, that performance improvement plan is designed to ensure that you can actually meet the quality of the work and the level of the work that you were supposed to be doing in the first place. If you did good enough, right? If you did good enough, then the expectation now is that you can stay at that level moving forward. And if you do not stay at that level moving forward, you are no longer going to be in the company. So that's the reason why PIPs are tricky. And many people will get on a PIP, and the moment that they're on a PIP, they start to experience all sorts of emotions. They start to down spiral. They start to hate their manager. If they already hated their manager before, they hate them even more. They start to let everybody know that this company is trash. I mean, they really start to just behave in a way that does not support them in the moment or support their future selves. So instead of you down spiraling, you have already, number one, you took a breath and you began processing. Number two, you began to document what you need to show that you have done the work that is required of you. So number one, you need to make sure that you pull up any single documentation, any and every single documentation of the work that you've done before. Okay. If you are told that the work that you are doing is not good, you need to verify that that is correct or incorrect. And if it is incorrect, you need to go ahead and say, well, that's not true because I have this project that's done. I've done these sorts of plans. I've worked on these sorts of things, X, Y, Z, right? That's what you want to do. Number one. Number two, you want to begin to document exactly what it is that you are already doing currently before you're on the PIP and while you are on the PIP. The reason why that is important is because if your manager gives you, as an example, 2 to 3 things that you need to get completed to get off of the PIP, you don't want to just do the work and then let your manager tell you that it's okay, it's good enough, or it's not good enough. You need to begin to document project by project, email by email, line by line, some of the things that you are supposed to be doing. A third thing that you should be doing as far as documentation is concerned is meeting with your manager regularly. Why is this important? If you're put on a PIP with the goal of the company to push you out of the company, why then wouldn't you meet with your manager on a regular basis to get a pulse on how things are going and whether or not things are going the way that you need them to go in order to stay in that role? If you are not meeting with your manager to continue to communicate up and down the chain to ensure that you're doing what you're supposed to do, you are playing in your own face, right? So we're not doing that in 2026. What we are doing is requiring, even if they don't say I'm going to meet with you on a weekly basis while you're on this PIP, you are going to require it. So when they put you on the PIP, and the PIP is 30 days, 60 days, 90 days is crazy work, but 30 days, 60 days, what you're going to start doing is you are going to before you sign that PIP agreement and hand it over, what you are going to do is you're going to say, I would like to meet with you on a weekly basis. Can I go ahead and set that up and find time on your calendar? Get a yes. That's what you need to do. Okay, so there's a question that says, this is just a comment, but it's sad that as Black people, we have to go into a work environment in a war posture. That's a very toxic way to have a relationship. So why do you think it's a war posture? So here's my opinion on how we have to move in a corporate space. So this actually comes up a lot. This comes up a lot. Uh-oh, it says chat disconnected. I hope you all can still hear me. Tested 1, 2, 3. This doesn't sound like a work environment, like a cat and mouse game. So let me tell you this. Give me a second. Let me get a tissue because my nose is doing something weird. 1 second. Okay, you can hear me. Okay, good. Stay where you are. I want to address this question because I hear this comes up all the time. This comes up with microaggressions, and this comes up about why do we have to be in a war posture or some similar language. So give me like 1 second. Okay, so here we are. So let me go ahead and address this. So number one, performance improvement plans are not just. I'm happy that you're here. Performance improvement plans are not just for Black people or people of color. That said, and this is from an equity lens, and this is the work that I think a lot of organizations should be doing. They should be assessing, and most organizations don't, but they should be assessing whether or not there are more people of color or Black people on PIPs. And if that is the case, what is the velocity, which is the work that I used to do? What is the velocity to which Black and brown people are spun out of the organization when they are on PIPs in comparison to white people? That said, okay, that said, what we need to ask ourselves is number one, have I done the work with integrity? Okay. Have I done the work with integrity? Only you can answer that question. I have, and I've shared this in my private coaching group, and I'll give you guys just a little bit of a teaser. There was a situation that I was in where this is like 15 years ago, so nobody judge me, okay? But I was in a situation where I had a manager, and I felt like my manager was he was scrutinizing me a little bit too firm, and I was like, okay, well, thank you. This was a major public agency. Everybody was a lawyer, and I was an intern. Okay, and I felt that he would have me write certain things. And one of the things that I'm very, very gifted in is writing. But he would review my work, and I'm like, you're giving haters, sir. Something's not right. And it got to the point that I found myself leaning in on him. When I tell you I leaned, I leaned. It was a lean with it, rock with it. It was not my finest hour. And in that moment, what I realized was number one, the feedback that he was giving me was inaccurate. It was false, it was inaccurate, and he was scrutinizing me and scrutinizing my work in a way that was really unfair. It really was unfair. That was the first thing. The second thing, what I also had to recognize very quickly was me leaning and rocking and going in on him the way that I did, that was unnecessary and it was unprofessional. So the question that we have to be honest about, because everyone deserves the truth, the question that we have to be honest about is, are there gaps in my work as an employment litigator, as someone who's actually trying to step away from doing the employment litigation, but to do more coaching? As an employment litigator, I have met with many of people, my folks, my people who look like me, many of people, and I sit down and I said, so talk to me about your work. What's going on? And I get a lot of the, ever since I walked into the door, I've been attacked and they have come at me. And I'm like, a lot of this could be true. So let's talk about your work, because if your work is right, we can defend your work in court. Let's go through it. Start going through their work, start going through their performance evaluation, start asking the right questions. And I'm like, your work is not as tight as you want it to be, baby. Your work. your work. It needs some work, right? So if you know your work is right, this is what I need you to do from a documentation perspective. And this is how a lot of people play in their own face. A lot of people, my people, we go into the workplace and we expect people to I'm trying to be very careful with my words because I know someone's going to record this and they're going to try to take me down with it. But you know what? Everyone deserves the truth. And 2026 belongs to the truth tellers. What we need to start doing is recognizing very quickly that you are not going to work to go to war. That will exhaust you, that will burn you out, and that will kill you. If you have a mindset that I am going to work and I am in a war zone, you might as well start your own business and just quit the job, right? That's just what you have to do. But what you have to do instead is a couple of things. You need to recognize that your 9 to 5 is not a place that is safe for anybody. It's not safe for anybody. It's not safe for Black people. It's not safe for white people. It's not safe for women. It's barely safe for white men, even though it's typically very white at the top and very Black and brown at the bottom. A lot of Black people, and I'm guilty of this as well, we go into the job with an expectation that people will understand and speak code in the way that we speak code. If I don't bother you, you don't bother me. Ain't no problem. If I don't rock with you, you don't rock with me. Ain't no problem. If 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 my work is not right, you're gonna let me know my work is not right. I'm gonna correct my work. It's not a problem. That is not corporate code. Corporate code and the way Black communities code with each other are not the same. And when we don't receive that, it hurts even more. And this is a part of the coaching. I'm giving y'all some free game. I hope you're picking this up. If you go into a corporate 9 to 5 expecting people to do you the way you would do them, number one, with integrity, or do you in the way that your community would do you, you are playing in your own face. That's not how a corporation works. A corporation is a transaction. The company is there. I'm going to have to edit this out. Lord have mercy. Y'all got me talking about all kinds of stuff in mixed company. A corporation is there to do something very specific, to make money. They are not there to protect you. They are not there to be your friends. They're not there to treat you like you went down to the church and everybody's just going to hug you at the end of the service and give you an Aaronic benediction and you go about your day. That's not how this works. So the way you move is you move with wisdom and you move with discernment. And when you move with wisdom and you move with discernment, you will start documenting your experiences. You will start documenting your work. If somebody tells you you've done a good job at your work, I need you to document that. There's no reason why you should talk to anybody after the fact, after you've been put on a PIP, after you have been terminated, or worse yet, you've experienced so much terribleness in a job that you've gone to a lawyer now and you're like, I need help. I don't know what's going on. There's no reason why you should have these experiences and you don't have not one shred of document, you don't have not one email, you've not gone to HR. And look, I know how you feel about HR because I feel the same. You've not gone to HR not one time. You have not built, you don't got no journal, you don't got no notebook, you didn't send no text message to nobody, you didn't talk to nobody, girl, sir, ma'am, sir. So we have to be very intentional in how we move. That is not war zone, that is just strategy. Right? If you want to lose weight, you got to step on the scale. And if when I was in a well, I've never wanted to lose weight. I'm trying to get thick. But whenever I have every position I have had, I've had to go to the EEOC. Why? Why? If you're finding that you have to go to the EEOC for every single position that you've had, something is not right. And I don't want to say it is your fault, but something is not right. And I'll say this. There's a growing conversation, and I will never, and to be clear, I never want anyone to think that I am advocating for anyone to be in a job that is a toxic job. I left a job that I loved because my manager she was doing the most. But as I recognized what was the situation, I recognized immediately. I peeped game. The moment that I peeped game, I began to document. But let me go ahead and teach y'all how to start documenting, because a lot of folks do not document well within the workplace. And this happens all the time to people who are Black and Brown, Black Americans in particular. Two things happen: failure to document very well, and number two, allowing the internalizing the microaggressions. You got your notebook ready. I know that's right. Internalizing the microaggressions. I had a very lengthy conversation it was yesterday, with someone who is a licensed clinician and who goes around and does workplace wellness consultations. She's absolutely amazing. And one of the things, we both are first generation Americans. Okay. Just put that out there. We're first generation Americans. And what we discovered in our, not just in our conversation, but what has come up a lot within the first generation community conversations, because yes, we be having our own conversations, is that we as first generation Americans, we respond differently to microaggressions in the workplace in comparison to people who have been here and whose families have been here for a very long, by virtue of the transatlantic slave trade, right? So, what I want you to do is to start to pause on how you are internalizing other people's behavior in the workplace. If some Listen, as a lawyer, I have gone to court and people have said to me, "Are you," the moment I walk into a courtroom, "Are you the defendant?" No. It happens all the time. At this point, I just cut them off and I just tell them, "I'm the lawyer, I'm the lawyer." But, "Are you the defendant?" No. "Are you a witness?" No. "Are you here to support somebody who is going to be on trial?" No. "Are you the court reporter?" No. "Do you have the right courtroom?" Never. It's never, "Are you the lawyer?" It's never, "Are you the lawyer?" And it's annoying, I'm not gonna lie, but am I going to be like, "I can't believe this, da, da." For me, I'm just like, "No, I'm the lawyer," and then I'm like, first generation Haitian American, first lawyer in my family, look at me, look at me." I'm not going to internalize your ignorance and allow your microaggressive behavior towards me to cause me to be so frustrated and so flustered that I can't go after the promises that God has given me, the wealth that God has given me, the ability to show up well for my clients, that I know I have the right to do, based on the fact that you are ignorant and you don't recognize that Black and Brown people show up in a suit in court. So, my challenge to you is to not see the job as a war zone, but see the job as an opportunity to move with two things: wisdom and integrity. Integrity is you doing your work well and doing your work the way that your work is supposed to be done. Document that you've done a good job. Document that you're experiencing some discrimination. Document that your manager is treating you differently from the team. When you document, that will support you whether or not you decide to leave the organization, whether or not you decide to negotiate a severance agreement, and it will also support you so you can start to track certain behaviors. So when you go to another job, you can start to pay attention to what is going on, right? That's one thing. As far as wisdom is concerned, wisdom is paying attention to certain behaviors, again, recognizing certain patterns and not allowing it to frustrate you, but giving you information and data points so you can begin to move in a way that will support you. Wisdom is making sure that you are only sharing high level information about your personal life, so that you don't go and tell all you'll spill your tea to your coworkers who hate your guts. Wisdom is making sure that when you walk into certain rooms, that there are certain ways and certain ability to communicate, so that the points that you are trying to get across land well, and no one can say that you don't know how to do your job, or that you are as smart as a box of rocks, because you likely are the smartest person in the room, based on your ability to not only do the work, but based on your ability to communicate well. Okay, I'm staring at y'all. The screen is not frozen. I'm staring at y'all. And when I give this feedback to individuals who are uh, Black and Brown, who look like me, who are in a corporate job, the response often is, "I understand, I need to make a shift in my behavior," or, "I don't like that, I need to go start my own job," or, "I need to start my own company." And this is what I want to tell you: when you start your own company, how will you then respond when you start to see microaggressive behaviors from your clients, from your customers, from people that you're providing certain services to, how will you then behave? Again, do not internalize other people's idiotic behavior, and as a result of their idiotic behavior, you are missing out on your opportunities to do continue to do amazing things, number 1, or you're missing out on your opportunity to do exactly what God has told you to do, because you know God has told you to do something, but you're so focused on what everybody else is thinking about you, you're not thinking about what God is thinking about you. You need to ensure that you are focused on the right things. And if you see a company as a war zone, it's going to be very problematic. Okay, so there's a question. I always had a notebook and it seemed like a documentation became a second job. People say that all the time, like, why should I document? It's like a second job. You should document because you just became self-employed, you still work for people. Yes, that's right. When you become self-employed, you still work for people. It just looks differently. I had to go home after work and spend another 2 hours working on my documentation. This is crazy. Nothing has changed. So you're not documenting well. So first of all, your documentation should take no more than 15 minutes per day, if that, or half an hour to maybe 45 minutes once a week. And this is what your documentation could look like. You pick up the phone, you press the memo button on your phone and you talk into the phone. That's your documentation. Or you sending yourself a text message on WhatsApp or on Messenger or whatever type of phone that you have. It shouldn't take you 2 hours to document. It shouldn't. If you are doing a project and you send an email on the project is done, blind copy yourself. That's your documentation. So it should not come off as a second job. It should not come off as a second job. What you need to do, so trusting God, zero, do me a favor, send me an email and I will send you my templates, my documentation template. I have it's just a paper. It's like 2 to 3 pages. I tell people to use it once a week. Send me an email. My email address is requests, requests at elizabethguetti.com, and I'll send it over to you. Okay, let's get back into what this is, and then I gotta go. So number 1, if you are told that you failed to meet expectations, number 1, make sure that you take a breath and start processing what is what you're experiencing, what is going on. You never want your emotions to lead. While your feelings can be true, your feelings are not fact. Okay, your feelings can be true to what you're feeling, but your feelings are not fact. They're just information. Number 2, you need to understand that if you're told that you are failing to meet expectations, you're likely going to be put on a PIP. Again, a PIP is just a company's way of documenting that they expected you to do certain work. Well, you didn't do the work very well. And as a result of you not doing the work very well, they now have to move you out of the company. Some people have been put on PIPs because they deserve to be put on PIPs. I'm not going to hold you. I have written a PIP or two, and I had to get some people off my team because I was like, you're not going to play in my face. I have talked to you 8 different ways to Sunday to try to get you to do the work well. You don't want to do the work well. You're playing in my face. You telling me that you don't want to be here. Okay, honey, if you don't want to be here and you don't want to do the work well, we have a couple of options. So do you want me to cut your check now, or do you want to go through the rigmarole of a PIP? You want to do the rigmarole of a PIP? So be it. Let's do it. What you also need to do if you are put on a PIP is you need to perform well on this PIP. Now, why is this important? Because number 1, even if you do not graduate off of this PIP, it's still going to help you. Why? Because the work that you do on a PIP is work that you can put on your resume. Your resume is still going to be amplified with the work that you've done on the PIP. You're not going to say, did this, launched a project and managed a project while I was on a performance improvement plan. No, that's not what you're going to say. What you are going to say instead is, I had an opportunity to increase or enhance or drive a project XYZ, blah, 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 blah. That's what you're going to do. That's what you're going to say. What you're not going to do is let the world know that you separated from the organization based on the fact that they put you on a PIP and you can't believe it because you were the best employee. No, wisdom. Remember we talked about wisdom? wisdom. So do well on the PIP. The goal is for you to get off of the PIP, but even if you don't graduate off of the PIP and you have to leave the organization, it is still work. If they put you on a PIP for 60 days, that 2 months of you doing some good quality work to stay off of that PIP is going to be on your resume. That portfolio, it's going to increase your portfolio. You have to put a plan together, honey, sir, Mr., sister, you need to make sure that you incorporate that. And again, you blind copy yourself because it is the work that you've done. Redact any confidential information, remove the company's name, but it is the work that you've done. It is a part of your dossier. It is a part of your professional experience. Put it in there, okay? And lastly, what you want to do is you want to, in addition to performing well, and again, you're performing well not out of desperation, but you're performing well out of integrity. You want to take a moment and actively reach out to your network and reach out to your people that you know, and don't say, yeah, my job is tripping and I'm not excited to be there anymore and blah, 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 blah. Why? Because we're communicating and moving with wisdom. What we are doing instead is reaching out to our network and letting them know ahead of time. If you know you're not going to graduate off that PIP, if you are in week 3 and you're like, they got me on this 8-week PIP, I'm on week 3 and it's already not looking good, I'm feeling uncomfortable, go ahead and reach out to your network and let them know I'm looking to make a change. I'm looking to shift. And I'm wondering if I can send you my current resume. And if you have, number one, feedback from me on my current resume. And number two, if there are any opportunities at your job that you can open the door for me or help me to reach out to a hiring manager. I would love to have a coffee chat or have a conversation. What is that going to do? Hopefully, that will support you in landing on your feet. Number one, you're interviewing while you're getting off this PIP, or number two, that you can find a way to easily transition to another organization if you end up getting terminated. Why is that important? The reason why that is important is because you want to minimize any disruptions to your time in the workforce, number one. And number two, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you are not internalizing. Remember, again, we talk about we are not internalizing people's stupidity. If somebody is stupid, let them be stupid. You are not going to internalize the fact that you were put on a PIP. It is an unfortunate. And listen, I'll let you know. I had a manager come to me and send me an email one time. She never said it's a PIP. She sent me this one email because I was giving her feedback. She did not like the fact that I gave her feedback. Y'all may have seen that video. I gave her feedback. And as a result of me giving her feedback, she said that I was always litigating with her. And I was like, there's no way. I'm many people, I'm many of things, but being aggressive is not one of those things. And she told me, you're always litigating against me and things of that nature. I'm like, I didn't realize that, responding was litigating. But now that I know that that's your perspective on it, I will be mindful of how I communicate with you moving forward. And then she found herself, I went on a 4-day PTO break because I was like, this is getting on my nerves. Y'all are getting on my nerves. Your girl is gone. I went on a 4-day PTO break. I came back. I did a training to the team. This is a real life story. I did a training to the team. At the end of that training, at the end of the day, I walked away, came back the next day, which was a Tuesday, got an email from this woman, and the email said, a long email. Thank you so much for your training, blah, 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 blah. I still got it. Thank you so much for your training. Da, 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 da. You are not meeting my expectations. Now, because I come from the world of employment litigation, I know, and at the time I was not working in an attorney role, I was doing DEI work. So because I know the language that is typically used by human resources, I was like, oh, okay, I see what this is. She's trying to set me up for a termination. There's no way you can terminate me because my documentation is great. I have every single compliment. I have every single kudo. I have my work is great. I have copies of my performance evaluation. You're not going to play in my face, girl. So I was like, I know what this is. Okay. So what did I do? I did exactly what I tell you all to do, which is speak up and speak up early. As a result of me speaking up and speaking up early, I was able to shift the conversation. I said, let's go ahead and wrap it. Shift the conversation from someone playing it in my face, telling me that I wasn't meeting expectations when everybody knows I was the best thing since sliced bread, and then move to y'all go ahead and cut me a check. And it was a fat check. check. They told me they were going to give me a 2 week salary, and I said, you're going to give me a 4 week salary. Well, we can't do that. You are going to get approval and you're going to get it done. Why are you going to get it done? Because I have a notebook full of documents and experiences that I've had under this person's leadership, number one, and number two, the fact that this is a classic retaliation. So we got a couple of ways to deal with this. Though what I did is not unique to me. What I did is not unique to me. I need y'all to do the same. Okay. I need y'all to do the same. Ask a quick question. Yes, go for it because I'm about to drop. Type your question in. I need y'all to do the same. And if this is helpful, please give me a heart. Please give me a like. It tells the algorithm that I'm doing something good. Okay, go ahead and drop your question and then I will drop. So if, by the way, at the end of the stream, save this. I need to go back and edit some stuff out, but save it and share it with a friend. Share it to the last 3 people that you send a text message to this week. Okay, drop your question, sir. I'm waiting, I'm waiting, I'm waiting. And are y'all following me on social media? Thank you for sharing. I really appreciate that. Give me a follow on social media as well. Okay. So the question is, there are people that have told me we shouldn't want to work for people that want to terminate us. Oh, that's such a complicated. That is so complicated. I think number one, that presupposes that every single organization that you work with wants to terminate you, and I just don't believe that that's true. I believe, and your name is Trusting God Zero. I believe that if you are a person of faith, that God goes before you, especially when you ask Him and you're in right standing with God. I did not want to get spiritual on this, but I feel like I have to. If you are a person that is in right standing with God and God goes before you, that you will be with a company that prayerfully does not want to terminate you. I don't agree with the notion that every single company wants to terminate you. I do believe that there are companies that are that they want to scam, they want to treat people bad. I believe that there's a lot of injustice at work, but I don't think that's every single company. Number one. Number two, there are people who are called to be entrepreneurs. And there are some people who are not called to be entrepreneurs. There are some people who are called to bring their gifts to the marketplace through organizations. And that's just what it is. And I'm gonna leave that there. I'm gonna leave that there. I hope you're picking up what I'm putting down. Okay, so with that being said, I will catch you all tomorrow. We're gonna go a little bit later than normal, so I likely will go live around 9 p.m. tomorrow. And at 9 p.m. tomorrow, I want to talk to you all about making sure that you are moving with wisdom in the workplace, because I find that that is a recurring theme, number one, and how to make sure that you are not internalizing some of the experiences that you're having in a workplace. And trust me, as somebody who has had some negative experiences as well, I've had to take some time to process what those experiences are. But I also know that there's a lot of positives to being in corporate America, and we're going to talk about what those positives are. Okay. So I hope this was helpful to you. If so, give me a follow. I will catch you all on the next one. Please don't edit the part out about your email. Okay, no problem. Let me type it in right now. I'm typing it in right now. Okay. All righty. All right, everyone. Have a great one, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye bye.